Okay, here's what it looks like right now. As you can see, let me put this up here. Here's my walking stuff. I put the DVDs, these are DVDs that I would, and music CDs that I would use more often right up here in this closet. Those are my maps. This is my walking stuff there. So this is, he didn't complain about this closet. Apparently he likes what I've done here. He didn't like what I had here, so I got rid of the tote. Oh, I need to wipe something here. Yeah, I try to keep it clean. I've been busy. That website was a lot of work. Here's what I've done here in the kitchen. I learned from my apartment in Florida that it's good to have something washable underneath this, because if you use like a drip thing, it gets really gooey. So I wash this every time I do the laundry, that towel underneath that. And I put the spices that I had a spice rack here. I threw it out, and I put all the spices in here. So this is what Jesus wants me to do. And some of them were expired. He doesn't like me keeping expired food, so I threw those out. And some of them I put up here. Like if I ran out of room, then I'll use these up, and I'll try to buy as small as containers as I can next time I go shopping for spices. So they're up here. I've got spices up here. These are those delicious chocolate bars that he got me. So I did manage to get everything out of the tote and find room to put them in the kitchen, because that's what Jesus wants me to do. And some of the food in the tote went down here. So, and down in here. So, yep, I managed to get it all in here. He didn't like this tote. He wants me to keep this pretty clear and open. In here, I have, I've got, what I did is, what I had in here before was blankets and stuff, and I put them in the black luggage. And then the cords and the electrical stuff that had in the black luggage, I put in the brown luggage. And that made room for me to put the DVDs and CDs. The ones that are up on top are ones that I probably will be viewing more often, and the ones that are on the bottom I would be viewing less often, so that way I don't have to dig as much to get to them. So that's how I've organized my movies. Yeah, because Jesus does not like me putting them on the bookshelf. Yeah, so let's go this way. You see, he wanted everything off the top of this bookshelf, including all the boxes that I had put in here. I don't think he's going to mind me putting these there, because I need them to turn on the television. So he wanted me to move the bed closer to the wall here, and this corner table right up against the wall. You know what? I forgot to turn on the light. Yeah. And so he wants this up as close to this wall as possible. And that gives me just enough space over here to open the windows, so it's good. And also, he wants the glider right here. And I worked out on it, and this is just the perfect, like, it doesn't go back so far. If I place the table right here, then it doesn't go back so far that it knocks anything over here. So this is a nice arrangement. And if I do need to work out indoors, like on a day like today, the window's right there, and I'll get that fresh air from outside. That's probably another reason he wanted it right here. The piano is right here. So, yeah. The piano's right here. And this is a good spot for it, actually. This is where he wants it. This is actually a good spot for it because it's plugged right into the surge protector, and the electronic piano does need surge protection. And also, if I do decide, if I ever figure out how to do digital recording using Linux Ubuntu, the cord will reach right into the computer. But I don't know. With Ubuntu, it doesn't seem like I can do it because I would need a Yamaha, I don't know what they call it, but I can't seem to be able to do it. I'm not worried about that. I don't have time. Anyways, here's the web page that I worked on today, and I'll make that a link underneath this video. That was an all-day job, man, because I had a lot of catching up to do. So yeah, and what I did is I moved some of my cassette tapes into this closet here to make room in that other closet for the tapes and CDs, and I think, yeah, that's going to work perfectly. This is a good place to put cassette tapes, because there's my cassette tape recorder. Yeah, so they're all in the same spot. Yep. And then in here, I got rid of the thingy-do that I used up there to hang. It just occurred to me that my gloves would work out really good on that thing. I kind of miss... Jesus said it looked like the ghetto, so... All right, Jesus. I will... And he didn't like... He wanted this right here. He wanted it off the toilet and down here, so I put it down here. And I tell you, Jesus is picky about wanting his space. He doesn't want it. I said, okay, Jesus, I'll do what you want. Brett thinks it has something to do with his 11-dimensional existence, why he needs so much space. Maybe his entire 11-dimensional heart is going to fit into here. I wonder how, I don't know. I just do what he says, okay? He's a lot smarter than me, so I don't like arguing with the deity, all right? So you might say, well, maybe you should object and say you don't want... Oh, no, are you kidding? I wouldn't insult him. I'm honored that he wants to live with me. But I'm telling you, he's laying out... It's kind of like that tabernacle in the wilderness, you know? He's got some really picky conditions you got to meet before he's willing to live here. Okay, let's just kind of like do a broad overview here. It looks pretty sharp, though. I got to say, it's a very attractive arrangement, you know? Yep. Jesus is a good designer. Of course, he created the universe, so what would you expect, right? Oh, he's here. You see that? You see that light? You might say, that's just from your camera. Nah, he does that on purpose. He'll put like little balls of light and they'll let me know he's here. Such a character. So this is what it looks like. It's pretty sharp. Sometimes I forget he's here because I don't see him, you know, because he hides himself. He makes himself invisible to me. Though every now and then he'll give me a picture in my mind so that I can see, you know. I've got to make some food today, you guys. So let me just go ahead and get this. I'll put this back up in here. So let me go ahead and get this video posted. I spent a little bit of time yesterday adding 2 items to the Amazon wish list because the way that I'm storing items here, you see this is pretty heavy. And I put the DVDs and CDs that are the ones I would use the most up on top, but I'm a little concerned about this over time might damage my luggage. And I want to make this lighter. There aren't any DVDs and CDs that I want to throw out. So I put some in there, and then the rest are up here in this closet. These are ones that I got. Here's what I put some items on the Amazon wish list that are lightweight and will hold up to about 37 to 40. And what I'm going to do is stack them down and probably stack 1 or 2 right here. And then I ordered 4 of them, and then put the other 2 in here. And that will lighten this up. And also make it easier for me to access them. So that went on the Amazon wish list. The other thing that I'm put on the Amazon wish list You see how this right here has gotten some damage, how everything is fallen off right there. So I ordered some more of these. I tried to find one that I thought was sturdier, but I put 2 of these on the Amazon wish list, and they're very much like this right here. I got these maybe about 4 years ago, and as you can see, the move damaged them a little bit, and plus they were getting old and falling apart. So I ordered some more of those. I put those on the Amazon wish list, and now I'm going to discuss something at my about Jesus and how he is about sex. Because this seems to be something a lot of males out there are obsessed with, including Satan and Lori McBride. Okay, so much has happened since I've moved here that I wanted to give a final update. I actually spent all day yesterday working on a web page, and I just showed you what the apartment looks like. This is the ring from Hugh Jackman. It is a rare ruby, he says, worth millions of dollars. And this one here is a ring that Jesus bought me, but it was one that Brent Spiner saw in a window when he was in Texas, and Jesus bought it for him because Brent wanted to buy it, but he didn't want to violate the Gail commandments to not spend money on anything over food and bills. So Jesus said, "I'll buy it for you, Brent." So I do believe that Jesus has officially moved into my apartment because he gave me an update to the Gail commandments. To let me know how I was doing with them. And I was thinking those CD, DVD storage items, I was thinking of putting one on top of this, and I thought Jesus isn't going to like that. Yeah, he wouldn't like that. He would want them in the closet. So I tried to pick items that I felt would honor the Gail Commandments 2.0. So you might say, how could Jesus live in your apartment? And what is it like? Well, I talked about it on my webpage. He's kind of hard to describe. He gives me like a vision in my mind of what he's doing. I don't see him 3-dimensionally, but he gives me a vision in my mind of what he's doing in the apartment. Like, I stayed up far too late last night trying to figure out which CD, DVD storage bins to because he wanted them off my bookshelf, and I put them in the closet. And I feel like I needed better storage for them that would be lighter. And it took me a long time to decide. And finally I saw a vision on him on my bed, patting my bed, saying, it was like he was saying, time to bed, you've stayed up long enough. And I thought, all right, Jesus, I know. It was like he's saying, you did a good job. I didn't hear an audible voice, but it was kind of like, I sensed like a telepathy feeling from him, like I don't know, not really a feeling, but he kind of like gives me an impression of what he's trying to communicate to me using like a form of telepathy, where I can almost like read his mind, It's like what I sensed was that he was saying, you did a good job. You picked something that I like. Now it's time for bed. So when I got into bed, and I saw him fluffing my pillow in my mind. It was like he was fluffing my pillow and being really cute, making the bed real comfortable for me. And I thought, why is he doing this? I went into the bed and laid down, and the pillow did look like it had been fluffed up. And I laid in the bed, and it was like he was all around my bed, just making sure I was real comfortable. And I couldn't believe how attentive he is. Like he accompanies me on my walks. You can kind of like see him as this bouncing ball of light. My Patreon supporters get to see it. He sometimes he says he's been doing this for years. he basically follows me around the apartment, but he's not always. And like he's got a particular spot at the eating table where he wants me to sit, and I've noticed he'll sit on the other spot. Now I know why he wanted the chair where it's positioned. It's positioned where I'm facing the wall, and there's an opening on the side where somebody else can sit. That's where every time I eat, he sits in that other chair on the other side and eats with me. God. If I work out on the glider, in other words, he wanted to leave that open there on the other side of the table so he could share meals with me. And then he goes like, he gobbles the food. I see him in my mind. He gives me like a little brief glimpse in my mind. When I'm on my glider and I put on my shoes and my exercise outfit, he's over there putting on his exercise outfit. And then I guess he has his own glider or something in the 11D space, you know. So what was really interesting was, and then he always whistles at me. Like if I come out of the shower, he's whistling at me. And I'm thinking, oh, Jesus, I know you're not going to have sex with me, so why are you whistling at me? And he doesn't even answer me. He just whistles. It's like, woo, woo, you know what guys used to do before all the females got all hyped up about it. If they saw an attractive girl on the street, they'd whistle at her. Well, he does that to me all the time. And I thought, Jesus, you will never, ever be able to convince Satan and Lori McBride that you're not having sex with me if you're doing stuff like this. Well, they think he's going to show up in a 3D body, and he's got six-pack abs. He has perfect abs. And that I'm going to be so turned on by his physical appearance that I'll just jump into bed with him. I don't think he's going to let me see him three-dimensionally. It's too dangerous because I will admit it, I do find him attractive, okay? So, but as far as jumping into bed with him, I would be scared to do that. You might say, why? Because I'd be worried that Satan could be impersonating him. And, you know, Satan can change forms. So let's say if he decided to show up as himself, I can guarantee you that probably in record time, Satan would make a copy of himself that looked just like Jesus, and he would try to show up of course, Jesus could kick him out. You say, well, why doesn't Jesus do that? Another reason he won't do that is because he's not ready he's not ready for this right now. It's too soon. You might say, which begs the question, why is he whistling at me? And why was he fluffing up your bed? Yeah, let me tell you what happened. I went into I laid in bed, and I was thinking about all the things he'd been doing for me all day, because he's giving me little brief visions of my mind, how he's been following me around in my apartment and kind of like I was just thinking he is so attentive, and yet when I feel like I need some space, like I don't want him always obsessing about me, then he kind of backs off, and he lets me, and it's like I don't even feel like he's here, and he probably is here, but I just don't sense it. It's like he senses when I need space, and he senses when he feels like he needs to give me some attention, and he has the perfect balance. I would say the mood that I most sense from him is jocative, or joking. He's a real, and to my amazement, I was telling him this in prayer. I mean, I can still pray to him even though he's here. I was thinking, Jesus, one thing that surprises me about you is you're so charming. I never expected a deity to be so charming, and I can understand now why Satan wanted to go to bed with you, and why he's so angry that you turned him down. And I said, in some ways I sympathize with him, though in other ways I don't, because he's disgusting, and you're entitled to choose who you want as your lover. And I was thinking about how he presented himself to me through the day, and with my high emotional IQ, right now, my emotional IQ is way above 10,000, including my regular IQ. And I could just perceive who he is, and he's just downright awesome. And I was just thinking about him and thinking what an honor it is that he's so interested in living here. And I just said, you know what? I just want to say something. I love you. I said, you are just downright awesome. I love you. And as soon as I said that, it was like I super turned him on. And I was shocked, and he actually let me sense a little bit of it. And I thought, isn't this dangerous for me to sense this, Jesus? And I kind of like got a vision in my mind of him turning my husband, Brent Spiner, on. Let me tell you what I think happened. And he actually allowed me to sense, apparently he gave Brent a real turn on. And Brent was like in a super big mood for brain-to-brain loving with me. And I thought, oh, so this is how you handle it. When you get turned on, you turn Brent on. Let me tell you what I think happens when Jesus gets turned on by his bride. You say, I'm not his bride, but I'm his favorite in the bride. So there's a lot about me that reminds him of what he loves most about his bride, if that makes any sense, because his bride is the church. So when I do certain things or say certain things, now I went back and reread Bible for Tribulation Saints, where Jesus advised me never to trust anything that I hear brain to brain. He says, I will not use the brain to brain servers, and that is correct. He will never speak as a voice to my mind. And so you might say, then how can you know what it is he's trying to communicate with you? He uses like a form of telepathy where I can read his mind. I don't hear any words. It's like I can read his mind. Yeah, it's like a form of telepathy. But I have to be careful with this because Satan's still he's still trying to kiss me on the lips and do all sorts of things. And I'm saying, go away, Satan. Jesus will not be kissing me on the lips. Go away. I shoot bolts at him. I say, go away. But he's trying. And Jesus is allowing Satan to do it. So you might say, so what happened? Brent got super turned on, and we had really hot brain-to-brain loving. But I realized that Jesus is the one who turned him on. You say, why would Jesus do that? When Jesus gets turned on, he turns on the members of his bride who have the feelings that he wants to express. And that's what he does. I wouldn't be surprised if this would have been about 12:30 last night. I was thinking, don't you want me to go to sleep, Jesus? Apparently he got so turned on. And then Brent was telling me, well, you know what? Jesus did say if you had trouble sleeping that brain-to-brain loving was the best solution. So this will probably give you better sleep. And actually, I did fall asleep right away afterwards, though I still got up early. So I do need to go to bed earlier. Yeah, Brent and I had some pretty hot brain-to-brain loving last night after Jesus turned him on, because Jesus got turned on. When Jesus gets turned on, it appears that he turns on members of his bride who express the feelings that he wants to express. You might say, well, what were the feelings? Very passionate. Very passionate. Jesus is crazy about his bride. I can tell you this right now, man. This man, God, is head over heels in love with his bride. I mean, it's going to be a permanent honeymoon when he marries her. I can tell you that right now. The way he is right now. But sometimes, because I'm his favorite in the bride, I will say or do things that really reinforce to him what it is he loves about his bride. And like any man engaged to marry his bride, sometimes he has a really strong desire to want to consummate that relationship. And it does hit Jesus just like it would a normal man. but he deals with it differently than a man would. Like a lot of men that are in engagement to their bride, some of them actually can't wait till marriage and they just go ahead and go to bed with her. And then some of them, the way Jesus handles this is he expresses his sexual feelings through the members of his bride that have the feelings that are closest to how he feels towards his bride, towards whoever their bride is. So he turned on Brent Spiner, and I wouldn't be surprised if he turned on all the men on my ex-marriage list, like maybe Hugh Jackman, Zach Knight, Matthew McConaughey, Vladimir Putin. And they probably all jumped into the Millennium Room to have sex with my millennial virgin, who I hear is drop dead gorgeous and looks like Miss Universe a million times over. That's probably how Jesus handles it when he gets turned on. He turns all them on. He turns my Brent on, and he turns all them on, and all the members of his bride. You may say, why would he do that? Because he vicariously experiences the orgasm with them. And I think the cumulative effect of all of the orgasms of maybe, who knows, maybe he turned on about a million members of his bride when I turned him on, when I said, I love you, Jesus. You see, he doesn't mind me expressing my love for him, as long as it's him and not Satan. You see, that's what he's worried about. But this time it was him. So he got really turned on, and he responded by turning on probably a million members of his bride, and they all made love to each other last night, and he vicariously experienced that. So that was like him passionately kissing his fiancée. That's what, this is how he does it. But I'm thinking, you know what, Jesus, maybe I should quit worrying about trying to convince Satan and Lori that you're not going to have sex with me, because they would probably consider that sex, even though he didn't show himself 3D. My only response to that is leave Jesus alone, okay? Leave Jesus alone. He actually bought this ring for me. It's a ring from Brent, but Jesus paid for it. And that kind of tells me something. So, it cost lots of money. So yes, I don't want you to misunderstand me. And I remember back in 2012, Terrence Jenkins asked Jesus, so you won't be doing brain-to-brain loving with Gail, but I have a question to ask you. Would you like to do brain-to-brain loving with Gail? And Jesus' answer was, yes, very much, but now is not the time. So he even admits that he finds me attractive. And yet, he seemed to contradict himself. He's like this. He speaks in parables. Later, he wanted to clarify exactly how he's going to be making love to me. And he said, Gail, I will not be your husband. You can go read Bible for Tribulation Saints. You can even, I'll have a link underneath this video to a web page where you can listen to our conversation with Jesus about this. He said, your husband is Brent Spiner. I would not want to get in between you two. But he said, but I will be giving you my semen in the millennium. I said, how can you give me your semen and we not be lovers? And he said, it will be through, I will be giving Brent my semen. So that's how he does it. You say, why would he be giving Brent his semen? I did ask him that once, and he said, you don't what? You don't like my present? I think I know the answer now. I think I wasn't at the spiritual maturity at the time to handle it, but I think I know the answer now. He's going to be giving Brent and I his semen because I think we're going to feel Jesus' orgasm the most of all the members of his bride when he does make love to her. He hasn't done it yet. You may say, then why does he turn on? When he gets turned on, the way he handles it is he turns on the members of his bride who have the feelings that most closely approximate his, and he senses like 1,000,000 of them all at once, and that's how he satisfies himself while he's waiting to marry his bride. And that's what I think he did last night when I told him I loved him. Because it turned him on because I was responding to the real Jesus. I wasn't responding to a Satan fake. Yeah. You may say, why won't he show himself to you? Because he knows Satan will impersonate him. And he doesn't want to take the risk of me making love to Satan. He's trying to protect me. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to be appearing in a three-dimensional form to me. So, yeah, during the 1,000-year reign, I will be getting his semen because I think Brent and I will be experiencing his feelings the most of all the members of the bride. He's going to honor us by that. It's going to be an 11-dimensional lovemaking experience, like an orgasm out of this world. When Jesus has an orgasm, it's so powerful that he's got to spread it out through many, many people. He can't just do it with one person. It's 11-dimensional. It's way too powerful. I know Satan's saying, well, why can't I can handle it, Jesus? Jesus doesn't want to make love to Lucifer, which I think I've finally figured out why Jesus was BFF with Lucifer for millions of years, even though he knew Lucifer would rebel. And the answer to that is because he knew that he'd have to kick Lucifer out of heaven eventually. He said, that doesn't make any sense. Why would he be BFF with a being that he knew he'd have to kick out of heaven? I'm wearing Joshua J. Joshua's shirt that he got me in New York close to me. He has this obsession with being fair and with showing that he doesn't show unfair favoritism. And he knew that after Lucifer rebelled, that Lucifer would accuse him of discrimination and maybe discrimination against gays, because Jesus is not anti-gay. And so he wanted to assure the universe that that isn't true about him. And that's why he was BFF with Lucifer. It's like, yeah, I want to give you every chance, Lucifer, before I kick you out. Yeah. He's very obsessed with being absolutely just in everything he does. So that's why. He was BFF with Lucifer for millions of years because he knew he'd have to kick him out. And him being BFF was actually damage control for Lucifer claiming that Jesus discriminates against gays and that sort of thing. The evangelical community does not quite understand Jesus' position towards homosexuality. They've taken some verses out of context in the Old Testament and in the New Testament. Yeah, those verses that seem to be anti-gay, you need to read them in context. If you're going to apply them to gay love, then you need to. He does prefer the man-woman relationship, but if you're going to apply them to gay love, then that means all the other condemned stuff in Leviticus needs to be applied to. You're taking the verses out of context. I'll have another link to that underneath this video. So, you may say, do you think there are going to be gay lovers as part of his bride? Of course. Of course. He honors all forms of true love. He prefers the man-woman relationship, but he's not anti-gay. But that's the reason he was friends with Lucifer for millions of years. Because he knew Lucifer would rebel, and he wanted to give him every chance. I think he was very sad when the rebellion finally happened. You see, why did he reject Lucifer as a lover? Well, look how Satan is right now. Can you imagine Jesus wanting to make love to him? Apparently, when Jesus said no, all Satan or Lucifer heard was no. He didn't know why Jesus said no. Lucifer at that time was a very hot-looking angel. He can still transform himself into that appearance, and he gives all the gays erections when he does that, and even some females. Not me, though. I think he's disgusting because he doesn't have an ounce of inner beauty. And that's why Jesus doesn't want him, because he's hateful, murderous, spiteful, jealous, and petty. Jesus is the opposite of all those things. And he's not overly impressed with three-dimensional physical beauty, because he sees us all 11-dimensionally, which might be why, in spite of my 64 years of age and my wrinkles and all that, when I come out of that shower, he sees me 11-dimensionally. I'm probably a knockout 11-dimensionally. And in the millennial reign, our outward appearance will be determined by our inward beauty. So that's probably why he whistles at me every time I come out. Okay, but I wanted to give some insights into Jesus and what it's like to have him in my apartment. He's just awesome. Yeah. He's balanced, completely balanced in every way. He's got charm. He can be charming. And there have been times he's been angry at me in the past, and he cannot be charming. But underneath it all is a deep, committed love. Everything he does is full of deep, committed love. Love is the motive behind everything he does. And that's why he's awesome. And that's why I love him. Anyways, you might say, how can we love him? One thing he would really appreciate is if everybody would do the Gail commandments and read the Bible for Tribulation Saints. He wants everyone to follow my example. I think that's part of the reason he's using my fried chicken batter to bring back the birds. To let everybody know that I am his favorite and that they are to follow my example. So yeah, Jesus is awesome. And he's not a prude. And sometimes I turn him on. And he's willing to let me know that. But he will never, ever be speaking to me brain to brain. He does not use computers, because the devil invented computers. And he doesn't really make love to me, ever. Not even in the millennium. But that doesn't mean he can't be turned on by me. You may say, that sounds like a contradiction. Not really. You see, I'm part of his bride, the church, so he can be turned on by me. But when he wants to express his sexual feelings towards me, he spreads it out to the whole bride. And I probably get the brunt of it, but he spreads it out to the whole bride. And so let's say if he gets turned on by me, by something I say or do, or by who I am, and he's in the mood for intimacy, what he would do is turn on about 1 million members of his bride that have the feelings that are closest to what he wants to express. And right now, while he's engaged to his bride, he would experience that like vicariously while they all make love to each other. Yeah. In other words, he would inspire them to make love the way he wants to make love to his bride. Like 1 million of them. And he would experience that vicariously. That's how he expresses himself when he gets turned on. Now in the millennium, I think we are all going to have 11-dimensional lovemaking with him, all the members of his bride. And we will actually be experiencing his semen. And I think me and Brent will experience it the most. And it's probably going to be an awesome experience. Anyways, I'm sure this is going to be a very interesting video. We will never be able to convince Lori and Satan, though, that he's not having sex with me, because I think they probably think that he revealed himself to me three-dimensionally last night when Brent was making love to me, and that and that it was Jesus. Oh, she's making me cough. Anyways, goodbye. Ooh. It was Brent. They don't like what I'm saying.